is a country that is a part of the United Kingdom. Scotland's mainland shares a border with England to the south. It is home to almost 800 small islands, including the Northern Isles of Shetland and Orkney, the Hebrides, Arran and Skye. Scotland's location is to the midwest of Europe and is surrounded by several different seas. Located to the east of Scotland is the North Sea, which divides the country from other areas of Europe, in particular Norway and the rest of Scandinavia. Across the North Sea to the southeast is Denmark, and further south still is Germany. North and west of Scotland's mainland is the Atlantic Ocean. Travelling north from Scotland will eventually bring you to Iceland and Greenland. To the southwest, across the Irish Sea, is Scotland's closest neighbouring island of Northern Ireland and Ayr. The first written records of Scottish history date back to the arrival of the Roman Empire in the 1st century after Christ. The Roman province of Britannia reached as far north as the Antonian Wall, which once ran across central Scotland from the River Clyde to the Firth of Forth. To the north lay the territory of Caledonia, which was ruled by the Pictish people. Frequent battles with the Picts saw the Roman retreat to Hadrian's Wall, which spanned the north of England from Carlisle in the west to Wallsend in the east. By the 3rd century, the Romans had all but departed the land that is now known as Scotland. In the 5th century, the northwest of Scotland was raided and had settled by Gaels, originating from Northern Ireland. They later established the Kingdom of Dalriada in Scotland's western regions. In the same period, Angles conquered a territory south of the Antonian Wall to form the Anglo-Saxon Kingdom of Bernicia. These later became a part of the Northern English Kingdom of Northumbria. At the end of the 8th century, all of Scotland's kingdoms were overthrown to some extent by marauding Vikings. Numerous defeats by the Norse raiders eventually forced the Picts and Scoti to end their long-held hostility towards each other from the unite in the 9th century to form the Kingdom of Scotland. However, the Scottish battles for power did not end there. In the 12th century, Anglo-Norman barons, including the Bruce family, laid claim to much of mainland Scotland. In exchange for land, these barons helped King David I to secure his claim to the throne and feudalize much of Scotland. In the 13th century, Alexander II and his son Alexander III were determined to bring all of the former Norwegian territories in the west of Scotland into their own territories. The Norwegian king Håkon sent a massive fleet to Scotland to hold on to his territories. In September 1263, the two forces clashed at the Battle of Lodge in Ayrshire. Scotland, whose throne passed through the control of the houses of Balliol and Bruce in the following years, had yet to win its freedom. The bloody wars of Scottish independence followed as the Scots tried to throw off the yoke of English influence. Scottish landowner Sir William Wallace became one of the main battle leaders, defeating an English army at the Battle of Stirling Bridge in 1297. Wallace served as guardian of Scotland until his defeat at the Battle of Falkirk. In 1305 he was captured in Roberstone near Glasgow and handed over to King Edward I of England, who had him hanged, drowned and quartered for high treason. In 1314, Robert Bruce inflicted a significant defeat on the English at the Battle of Bannockburn. However, the conflicts continued for centuries. In 1603, after the death of Elizabeth I of England, James VI of Scotland succeeded to the English throne as James I. In 1707, the Acts of Union formally united Scotland with England and Wales as Great Britain. Over the years, Scotland have tried to get their independence from the UK, and now Scotland will try to get it once again. In October 2012, Britain's Prime Minister David Cameron and the Scottish First Minister Alex Salmond signed a plan for the Scottish referendum about its independence. The referendum is going to be in 2014, and hopefully this will be the last referendum about their independence.
Now we have heard Camilla talk about where Scotland is and the history of Scotland. I will shortly tell you about the culture and traditions in Scotland. Scottish people are an ethnic group indigenous to Scotland. Even today, the vibrant Scottish people proudly uphold their strong traditions. Farmers or crofters, as they are called, live in Highlands and Islands of Scotland, which include the northwestern hilly regions of Scotland. Scottish people have a worldwide reputation of warmth and friendliness. Scottish people are proud of their nationality, but they also have a long tradition of welcoming new people and cultures. Historically, Scotland has appreciated the benefits of embracing different cultures. Today, Scotland is a richly diverse country with dozens of different cultures living in harmony. Tolerance, equality of opportunity, and social justice are important principles of Scottish people and communities. When we talk about Scottish people, we cannot separate them from their culture, which is visible in its language, clothing, music, food, whiskey, and of course the golf and their sports. The language originated the tongue of Angles who arrived in Scotland about 1400 years ago. During the Middle Ages, this language developed and grew apart from its sister's tongue in England until a distinct Scotch language had developed. At one time, Scotch was the national language of Scotland, spoken by Scottish kings, and was used to write the official records of the country. Scotch was displaced as a national language after political union with England in 1907, but it has continued to be spoken and written in a number of regional varieties since that time. Scots is one of three native languages spoken in Scotland today. It is Scots, English, and Scottish Gaelic. Scots is mainly a spoken language and is spoken by old and young alike and can be heard in both cities and country areas. People can have a strong emotional attachment to the language and often feel most comfortable using it among their family and friends. The basis of Scottish clothing is kilts. Scottish kilts are known as the national dress of Scotland and are highly recognized from a dress throughout the world. Kilts have deep cultural and historical roots in the country of Scotland and are a sacred symbol of patriotism and honour for a true Scotchman. The word kilt is a derivation of an ancient Norse word, kilt, which means pleated and refers to clothing that is tucked up around the body. The Scottish kilt is worn by both men and women as a formal dress at Highland Games or events. Some of the Scottish, the kilt is a symbol of honour for the clan which they belong to and give them a sense of belonging which has passed throughout generations. You may or may not wear underwear under the kilt, but the traditions say that a true Scotchman should never wear underwear under the kilt. Here you see a man with a kilt and a bagpipe. The bagpipe is the national instrument of Scotland and is best represented in the music of the Scottish Highlands. Other things that represent Scotland is the national dish of Scotland, Scottish haggis, and their whiskey. As I said, haggis is the national dish of Scotland. It consists of sheep lungs, heart, and liver mixed with suet, oatmeal, seasoning, and encased in the sheep's stomach. Haggis is a result of the poet Robert Burns' poem addressed to Haggis of 1787. Every year on January 25th, the Scottish people celebrate Burns' Night in memory of the Scottish poet. Whiskey is another thing that represents Scotland. Scotch whiskey enveloped from a Scottish drink called using Bretha, which means lively water, water of life. The whiskey is one of Scotland's biggest earnings and has been produced there longer than anyone can remember. We have 5 types of Scottish whiskey: single malt Scotch whiskey, single grain Scotch whiskey, blended malt Scotch whiskey, blended grain Scotch whiskey, and blended Scotch whiskey. All Scotch whiskey need to be aged in oak barrels for at least 3 years. Scotland's sporting traditions are legendary worldwide. Scotland can pride themselves with the invention of a number of popular international sports such as golf, rugby, and tennis. Golf has become their national game. The game plays a key role in the national sporting business. One of the oldest golf courses in the world is located in Scotland. The Royal and Ancient Golf Club at St Andrews, known as the R&A, is the world governing body for the game. The old course at St Andrews is considered by many to be the home of golf because the sport was first played on the links at St Andrews in the early 1400s. Other sports that Scotch also enjoy are the traditional sports like hammer throwing, tossing the pool, light and heavy athletics, and Scottish wrestling.